now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be wheeling and dealing, negotiating, double-crossing, doing all sorts of fun stuff to our buddies while we're trying to gain influence on certain gangsters so that our Mafia family will have the most respect at the end of the day. This is Nothing Personal from Game Salute, and it's for 3 to 5 players, takes 2 hours plus or minus depending on the players. And hey gamers, if you want to work out, skip the gym, just start lifting this box. It's like 8 pounds, it's crazy thick. Anyways, we're going to take a look at the components in more depth than usual, give you a very more high level view of the game than usual, and then I'll give you my very good final thoughts about what I think about this game. I'm going to do this overview a little different than I normally do because the co-designer and Dice Tower founder Tom Vasel has recently released a 4-part video session that shows you how to play this game, every rule, every step of the way. So I'm not going to go into too much detail of how to play. Instead, what I'm going to do is show you the amazing components in this game and focus on those, and then give you a very high-level version of how the game is played. Now, staying on the box here, this box has one of those flat matte finishes that have been really popular this year in 2013. I've seen a bunch of games from Game Salute that have this, and I really love it. It's like a smooth, it doesn't show fingerprints, it's just a really nice feeling. Also, the box itself is heavy. This thing is like 7.5 pounds. It feels about twice as heavy as a normal game. It just feels really solid. I feel like you could like stand on top of this game and nothing would happen to it. It's really solid. The game comes with 5 player aids. Now each of these player aids have some information on the left and right columns that the information itself is the same for all 5. But then it has logos and names and taglines for each of the different Mafia families that you may take in the game. Now, none of them have any special ability over the other. They're all sort of the same in that regard. But it's cool to see that each of them has their own color and logo and sort of flavor and feel to them. I also want you to notate how thick these are. Every component in this game is really thick, feels good in your hands, feels super solid. They're at the highest, utmost quality here. Each of the families also come with their own little tuck box that has their logo and tagline on it, which holds all the influence tokens that I'll show you about here shortly. And on the back side of these, they have the certain sort of feel and flavor of that family on the back of the tuck boxes, which gives them all a little different personality. Inside those tuck boxes hold those influence tokens that you can see, and you get a bunch of these to do things during the game that I'll talk to you about later. I also want you to notice again, the quality and the thickness of all these components are just really good. Feel great in your hand. They're going to last a long time. Here's the money in the game. It's not paper money. It is cardboard, and they are really thick. You can see how thick they are here, and it's just, again, another great choice of a way to use currency that will last a long time and feels thick and good in your hand. There's some custom dice in the game that help you make a move on somebody. They make you whack somebody. They have guns and rings and knives and some numbers. Pretty cool. There's some really heavy tokens that are used in the game for blackmailing or for stopping people from doing actions. They're just really heavy. They're really cool. Great components. Then we have the Capo Ring. This is worn by the player who has the highest gangster in the game, and they get to break all ties. Then we have the gangster cards, which I'm not going to talk too much about now, but check out just the artwork that's on some of these cards. They're just really cool. They all have cool names. They all have, Mafia-like names. They all have some really cool artwork. I mean, they are just awesome looking in every respect. The artwork here is just awesome. It fits the theme great. Just some really cool stuff here. And here's some influence cards that you play as actions during the game. But again, look at the quality here. It looks like the paper. You've got cards. You've got guns and brass knuckles and hats. It's just the artwork on these are cool. The things on the paper say something different for all of them. It's just a really cool thematic way to do the action cards. Now here we have the board set up for the starting game here with all the gangsters up in the pyramid, from the capo all the way down to the underboss, counselor, enforcer, all the way to the lower gangsters. You're trying to become the family that has the most respect at the end of the game, because the respect is points. And you do this by, over the game, these influence cards will be getting played, and they'll allow you to place these influence markers on certain gangsters. And so over the course of the game, different colors of players will be putting influence on different spots by playing these influence cards. And over the time, people will start fighting over which ones they're going for, and somebody will control them eventually. After everyone's done playing cards for that round, we go through from top to bottom and we check to see who owns or controls the gangster. In this case, it's tied, so whoever had the capo ring would be able to break the tie, and that's where a good spot for negotiation. Now, the owner of this would get the amount of respect on the card plus the board position. So this person would get 7 respect or points and $7. And so on and so forth. You'd go down through the whole pyramid. The person owning that, controlling that gangster would get that amount of respect and money. Once all the money and respect's been given, we work our way up the pyramid from bottom to top, and all the gangsters get to do, whoever controls that gangster gets to do an action. They can either do the action on the space for that card. Some of them have special actions on their card that they can do themselves, and they can attempt to make a move, which is jumping up the pyramid. So in this case, the person that controls this person could steal $3 from any person. Again, you don't like that idea? Negotiate over it. Steal it from him and I'll give you some money. So it's always negotiating. Let's see, it's like, so for this person, it could either switch 2 influence markers, meaning swap one with another one, or his special ability is you can use any position power on the same level. So you could use any of these powers on this level. That's his special ability. And this gentleman over here could either place an influence marker anywhere on the board, which changes things. And again, anytime you're doing anything, someone might say, I'm going to play an influence marker. And before they do it, boom, here comes the negotiations. Well, if you play it over here, I'll do this for you. Or I did this for you earlier. Don't put it on this guy, put it on this guy. So every time anything is done in this game, any action, pretty much negotiations happening. He could also gain 4 respect and choose another player to gain 2 respect. So those are sort of how things go, is you're trying to power up the people and the actions and combine them so that you can slowly move up to the top of the pyramid. You can also try to make moves on somebody. Instead of taking one of the actions on the card or on the board, this guy could try to move up into this position. Now you'll see the arrows here show you where you could make moves and where people get appointed during the game. Now if this person wanted to make a move on this person, he has 4 respect on his card. The Racketeer's at a position 5. He would have to roll the dice and beat 5. So 4 plus 2 beats 5. That would be a 6. So this person just needs to roll a 2, and they would be able to swap positions and make a move on these people. Again, and when you swap, it's huge because this person gains 4 respect, this person loses 4 respect, but you could actually die doing so, and this gangster could get removed. Over the course of time, some of these people are going to get too much influence on them, so much so that they attract the cops and get sent to prison. It's a good strategic move to try to get people to prison if you don't control them. And if this happens, everything would get, all the influence markers would get returned, and these guys would be going to prison. And then as spots get emptied by when people get killed or when people are sent to prison, the new people will start to move up the pyramid. And as holes get opened, people get filled into the new positions and they get hired by the people above them. And anytime somebody's getting hired, you can imagine a lot of negotiations going on as to who's going to be getting promoted and moved up and things like that. So the board always gets filled. And so you'll be doing this over 5 different phases. Once all these 5 rounds are done, you look at the final score, and the one who has the most respect is the winner. All right, well, there's nothing personal. This game is really going to depend on you and your group. Because there's one rule in this game that is the best rule in the game once you know it well, but it also can be the worst rule in the game if you've never played it before and nobody's played it before in your group. Let me tell you what happened with us. First time we played it, we played the game, and by the time we got to the end, there was only maybe 2 times where there was even just barely a negotiation. Someone played a card that said, hey, someone else can throw 2 influence. And I was like, oh, I'll give you $1 for it. Okay. So it was like very little negotiation. And at the end, it felt kind of flat. We were like, we liked the mechanics of the area control and the way people move up, and we thought that was interesting, but it didn't like wow us. We were like, huh, okay, I thought it was gonna be different from this. And one of the people actually hated it that night. So I did some research, did some stuff, the second time we played it a lot differently. So we got to the end of that first game, we're like, wow, for a negotiation game, it's so open-ended that you literally could play this whole game without any negotiation. And we almost did that. And if you're gonna play the game this way, don't buy it, because that's not what this game's intended to do. We played it like a Euro gamer. You cannot play this game like it's a Euro game. You can, but if you do, it's not gonna shine, it's not gonna wow you, and you probably won't have a very enjoyable experience. It'll just be okay. The second and third and fourth times that we played this, we played it much differently. Because think of Settlers of Catan, for example. When you have negotiation, you have a specific time that it's done, and you're negotiating over certain things. And it's very framed in to know when and what to negotiate for, and that's interesting. Now let's take Article 27, which is like my favorite negotiation game, which is pure negotiation. There's negotiating the entire game, but what you're negotiating for, the levers you have to pull, are quite framed in. Where in this game, it's just any negotiation, anytime, for anything. Now there's a few rules that you can't do, but for most part, it's open-ended. So as a new player, if you're playing this and you've never played it before, and you're playing it with people that have never played it before, be wary of that. It might overwhelm you that there's so much freedom that it gives you that you just won't do negotiation because you won't know when to do it. And I fell into that trap, and I want to tell all those people out there, don't fall into that trap, because that's not the way it's really intended, that it was designed to be played. So in subsequent plays, we negotiated for everything. Pretty much every time anybody's trying to do anything. If you don't like it, negotiate. Anything. I mean, whether they're selling a card, hey, you're selling that card for $8, maybe I'll buy it off you for $9. Anytime anybody's placing any influence, oh, hold on, man. Anybody's taking an action. It's literally every step somebody should negotiate for things. So when you play it like that, it really opens the floodgates. And it's the reason why it is really the best rule in the end game, because it does give you so much freedom that just all the deals that you'll make with everybody over the course of game and over the course of multiple games. When you play this game with the same people multiple times and you hold grudges from earlier times and there's certain things that you willed and dealed before that, hey, you never paid me back last game for that. Now's the time. It's just, it's amazing. So for me, I have to admit, I love negotiation games. Love them. And this, I've got to say, for 2013, it's not over yet, but for now, this is, for me, the best game I've played all year. And it's easily in my top 10 of every game I own. I loved it. The experience, and everybody that we've played it with, except that first night, as we're playing it 4 or 5 times during the night, each person's going, wow, this is really awesome. This is a good game. I can't believe how the tides changed with that one negotiation. And even if you're losing, you still have a shot because everybody's ganging up on the leader. As soon as someone takes a lead, take them down, don't let them do any deals. And you're all sort of ganging up on each other and policing each other. And it's just, oof. If you like negotiation games at all, you've got to check this out. It's probably one of those experience games that you got to experience. It's absolutely amazing. I've had feelings and things of this game that I've never felt before. So if you're interested in negotiation, you have a group that you can play this with, no brainer, but don't play it like a Euro or you won't like it. Negotiate, have fun, laugh, hold grudges, take down the leader. Don't worry, it's nothing personal.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.